Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So let us continue. And we left our session in this defining the load combinations. And you can add the default load combination in the Etab by clicking any desired code. For example, if you are designing the structure as per the ACI, so you can generate the load combination by default using the add default option in the Etab. But when you are designing a structure using the UBC 97 and building code of Pakistan, then you have to define the load combination manually, because the UBC 97 from definition of the design codes or the generation from the load combination, it has been removed from the ETAB. Therefore, there is a section in the building code of Pakistan, which is the 5.12.2, which is about the load combination using the strength design method or LRFD. And these are the load combination, which is 1.4D, 1.2D plus 1.6 live load, and this is 0.5 LR or S. LR means snow, LR means roof load, or S means snow. And the next is 1.2D plus 1.6 live load, roof load plus snow load, plus F1L plus 0.8 W if we have wind load. And this F1 and F2, which is our different factors, and it is 1 for the floors in the places for the public assembly when the live load exceeds from the 100 PSF. But for the normal range, it is 0.5 for other live loads. And F2 is 0.7 for roof configuration, and 0.2 is for other roof configuration if you have one story, if you are applying the roof loads. So let us move forward. And there is a section exception in the code that the effector load combination in this section must be multiplied with 1.1 for the concrete and masonry structures when the load combination includes the seismic forces. It means that you have to increase the load in by 10% when you are designing a structure for the earthquake forces, right? So when you multiply these 1.1, so it will be in the next slide, but we have to extract the load combos which is applicable in our structure. That, for example, 1.4D is okay, and the next is 1.2D plus 1.6 live, and it is 0.5 live load. In our case, there is no roof load, or you can say the snow loads, and it becomes this will be 0, so this equation will become 1.2D plus 1.6 live. The next is 1.2D plus 1.6, again this will be 0, and this will become F1 is 0.5 for other configuration, and it becomes 0.5L, and this is not in our case, so it becomes 1.2D plus 0.5 live load. The next is there is no wind, so it will become 0, and this is 0.5L, and this is 0, so again this will become this equation. The next is 1.2D plus 1 times of E plus F1L plus F2S, where S is 0, so this will become 0, and F1 is 0.5, so this will be 0.5L, and 1 times E, so this will become 1.2D plus 1E plus 0.5L. The last one is 0.9D plus minus 1 times E, or 1.3 times W. So W is not available in our case, so it will be 1 times E, but the first one will be 0.9D minus 1 times E, and the next will be 0.9D plus 1 times E. So after applying the 1.1 factor, and for the X and Y direction, we have total of 9 combination. So this is our total 9 combination, which is 1.4D and 1.2D plus 1.6 live, and you have to be define separate load combination for the X as well as for the Y direction, and this is the 0.9D minus X, and this will be 0.99D minus E, and this is the plus X, and this is the plus Y. So we will define this in our model. We'll go to the define, click on this load combination, and you can click on the add default design combination, in which you can select the desired frame, for example, this is a concrete frame design. If you click on OK, so this load combination will be defined as per the code you have selected. So let us delete this and we will define it manually, and we will click on this add new combo, and we will name it as 1.4D, and this is D, and D will include dead load plus SDL, which is the superimposed dead load. So 1.4D is defined. Click OK and click on the, you can add a new, you can take copy from this, add new copy of the combo and write it down 1.2D plus 1.6L live. So this will become 1.2, this is the scale factor, and we have to add live, and this will be 1.6, and you have to keep this load combination type as linear addition, right? And there are some other addition types, which is the envelope, and which it will automatically do the plus minus as per the load combination, and this is the absolute, in which they will add all the combos at once, and this is SRSS and all of this. So normally this range is used, which is the linear addition. So click OK. The next one is the 1.2D plus 0.5 live. This is 0.5L, and this will become 0.5. Next is 1.32D plus 1.1 X plus 0.6 live, because it was initially it was 0.5. When you multiply it with the 1.1 factors, it will become 0.6. Same is it was 1.2, so if you multiply with 1.1, it will become 1.32. So it's 1.32, 1.1, and 0.6 live load in the X direction as well as in the Y direction. So we'll add new combo, and we will write it down the 1.32D plus 1.1 EX plus 0.6 live. So this is the dead load sulfate, this is SDL, this is live, and this is the Arctic X. So now the scale factor is 1.32, 1.32, in the live is 0.6, and the X is Arctic X is 1.1, and you have to click OK. Now again take copy of this, and you have to change it as Y, keep everything the same, and you will change this Arctic X into Arctic Y. Click OK. So this definition, this is defined. Next is 0.99D minus 1.1X. Add new combo, and this is 0.99D plus, sorry, minus EX. So this is SDL one, this is sulfate, this is SDL, this is the Arctic X. So it will 0.99, 0.99, and this will become minus 1.1, right? Because here we have the minus sign 1. So click OK and take copy of this, and we will add copy of this, and we will write it down minus EY, and we'll change this only into Arctic Y. Click OK. Now the first one is done. Now it is plus, so we will take copy of this X, and we will write it down plus EX, and this is Arctic X, and this time it will be plus 1.1. Click OK, and we will take a copy of from the minus Arctic Y, and this will become plus EY. Actually it is 1.1, so if you can write it down 1.1, so this will be positive 1.1. So this is the way you can define the load combination of your desire of any code. Because we are using the load definition, Arctic load definition of the UBC, so we will use the load combination of UBC and SM. So this is our load combination. So it is done. Click OK. So the load combination has been defined. You can verify and click on to the load combination, and you will find out these load combos. Save the model. The next is about the defining the load cases. So load cases are the automatically generated by the program for each load pattern. However, you can review or define your own load cases as well. So let us go to the Etab, go to the define load cases, click on this. और यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि हमने डेट लोड पैटर्न और लाइव एस डी एल आर्टिक एक्स आर्टिक वाई ये ऑलरेडी डिफाइन हो चुके हैं. तो आप ये ऑटोमेटिकली टैब आपके लिए जनरेट कर लेता है. इसको आप वेरीफाई भी कर सकते हैं. क्लिक ऑन दिस एंड मॉडिफाई शो बटन. और आप देख सकते हैं कि लोड केस हमारे पास लीनियर स्टैटिक है बिकॉज वी आर डिजाइनिंग स्ट्रक्चर यूजिंग द इलास्टिक रेंज because linear elastic analysis which is the linear static, and leave this as default. So this is how you can verify or check whether the load cases are defined for your load pattern or not. The next is about the mass source, and the base share is defined in the UBC 97 or Building Code of Pakistan in section 5.30.2, that the base share can be calculated using this equation, which is the V is equal to CVI divided by RT into W, and the W is actually the seismic weight of the structure, and this is some scale factor. If you multiply with the weight, so this much base shear will be applied at the base of the building, and then the software will automatically distribute that base shear into the story forces accordingly, right? So in Etab, you have to define the mass source in order to find the weight of the structure, and you have defined the I, R, T, and V. CV in all of these has been defined already in the Etab. So you have to define the W source in the Etab. So the software will calculate the weight of the building, and from the weight of the building, it will distribute the base shear along the story of the building. So only dead loads are to be used in the calculation of the seismic weight, and it is defined in the C7 section 12.7.2, that the effective seismic weight W of the structure shall include the dead load as defined in section 3.1. And in some cases, in the areas used for the storage, for example, if it is a warehouse or storage house, then you have to include 25% of the floor live load should be included in the definition of the seismic weight. Right? So how do we define this mass source? You have to go to the define. यहाँ पे आप define में चले जाए, और यहाँ पे एक ऑप्शन है मास सोर्स, पे आप क्लिक कर ले, और ये ऑलरेडी एक डिफाइन हो चुका है, इसको आप मॉडिफाई कर ले. और यहाँ पे आपके पास डिफरेंट ऑप्शंस है कि आपके पास सेल्फ वेट ऑटोमेटिकली ये कैलकुलेट कर ले, और कोई एडिशनल मास आपने इस पे ऐड किया है तो इससे ये बेस शेयर निकाले. सो नॉर्मली आई विल रिकमेंड टू अनचेक दिस, and also this additional mass. Click on the specify load pattern, where you have to specify the load pattern from which the software will automatically calculate the base shear. So it includes the dead load only, so click on this dead, and dead load includes also the SDL. So these two should be included, and you can include the live load in case 25% the live load in case when you have the storage facility or you have the warehouses. So this mass source has been defined. So software will automatically calculate the base shear for your calculation. Now click on OK. So the base shear has been defined, sorry, mass source, and the software will automatically calculate the base shear for your proposed building. So this was the whole story about the definition of different load combination, mass sources, and load cases. So we will move forward, and we will start the session 5. And at the end of this session, we will move towards the question and answer session. So in this session, we will be checking the model and the diaphragm assignments, assignment of the loads to structural members as per UBC 97 and by the Code of Pakistan. and the selection of the desired code, from where you can select the desired code, what are different options, and then we will analyze the model and we will have the discussion on the results. So the checking the model is very important. Before assigning the loads, there is a check that needs to be done, and it is done for the errors. So you want to check whether there is any errors in your structure or not. And the errors includes the joint connectivity. If the joints are not connected properly, when the shells are overlapping, for example, you have draw one shell and you have drawn another shell and they are overlapping, so it will give you an error. And the frame connectivity, when the frames are not connected properly. So before running the models, there should be no error. Example, if I show you properly, so this command should be appear that the model has been checked and there is no messages, no warning messages generated, right? So how this window will look like when you have errors? So when there is an error, it will give you information about the error, and this window will look like this. For example, the model has been checked. One warning messages that in the ground floor, this F87 and F6 are too close. F means floor. It is talking about the shell elements, the slab elements. It's talking about the shell elements. That they are too close, it means they are overlapping, and you have to remove this. You can select the property of this. For example, you can go to the let me show you. You can go to the select, go to this select, and then go to the labels and click on this shell labels, and you can see in the shell you will find the F14, F16, and you will select that shell, and then you can delete that shell and you can draw it properly with connecting each joint, right? So if for this type of error, you have to select that shell and then you have to delete that shell if it is necessary, and then you have to draw it again accurately. So this will remove your error from your model. The next is about the diaphragm assignment. The diaphragm must be assigned to the horizontal shells in order to transfer the dynamic load, seismic loads into the from the slab to the frame elements, which are the beams and columns, right? So if you do not assign the diaphragm, so the software will not calculate the drift for you. If you check the drift, so drift columns or tables will be blank, right? So if you assign the diaphragm, so it will automatically give you the drift value, the lateral displacements. They are all calculated using the diaphragm. So there are two types of diaphragms. The first one is the rigid diaphragm, and the next one is the semi-rigid diaphragm. And it is assigned to the concrete slabs and discs if you do not want to incorporate the shear deformation. And if you want to incorporate the shear deformation, then you have to assign the rigid diaphragm, and it is normally assigned to the wooden slabs and hollow slabs. They are not assigned to the solid slabs. We'll go to the software, and we will disappear all other elements, which are the columns, beams, walls, and we will leave the floors, and we will click on OK, and we will also disappear the openings, and we will select all stories, and we will drag a window, and all the shells will be assigned, selected. And remember that if you have two blocks or three blocks in the same Etab model, then you have to assign separate diaphragms to the separate blocks. So I have selected these slabs. So now I will go to the assign shell, and there is an option diaphragms, and there is also defined diaphragm, which is D1. You can click on the modify, or you can define all diaphragms. Let me define it first. We'll go to the define, uh, click on this diaphragms, and click the add new diaphragm. So there is an option where it is rigid or semi-rigid. So we will selecting the rigid, and it is D2. Click OK. Now go to the assign shell diaphragms and select D2 and click on apply. Right. So by assigning the diaphragm, what will happen is that it will have the information that the where is the stiffness rigidity center, stiffness center, or you can say the rigidity center of the system, in which the software will apply the seismic forces, and it will calculate the drift and the torsion irregularity accordingly, right? So the diaphragm has been assigned to the shell. Next is the assignment of the load to the structural members as per the UBC 97 and Building Code of Pakistan. The first one is the superimposed dead loads, and these loads must be applied as per the requirement. For the routine design practice, the following loads are used as SDL. So for 30 PSF for 3 inch of tiles on all floors, and this is its brief calculation that the tile thickness is normally 3 inches, so the density is 120 pound per cubic feet, and the the area loads that will be 120 into 3 divided by 12, and you will get the 30 PSF. So the 10 PSF loads are applied for the incorporate to incorporate the loads of the bricks or the farm work. So we will take the total load of 40 PSF load to be used as SDL on the slabs. So we'll go to the software, and again we will select the slabs. We will go to select properties slab section, and we will select slab 6 inches, and these slabs are selected, and we will assign shell. There is an option shell loads, and we have to click on this uniform. Click on this uniform and select the load pattern. For example, in which load pattern you want to apply the load. So we are selecting the SDL, and this is the option. It is the load uniform load, and its units is pound per square feet. So we are applying the 40 PSF, which is the 40 pound, and its direction is gravity. If you are assigning a load, it is a different type of load, you can select any type of direction, where it is local 1, 2, 3, global X, Y, and this is the X projection, Y projection, all of this. So normally, the normal condition is selected as gravity because it is a gravity load. So we'll select gravity and click on apply. So now you can see the 40 PSF load as an SDL has been applied. You can verify by right clicking on one of the slab and click on the tab loads. So you can see that the load pattern SDL uniform load 40 PSF has been applied. Right. The next is about the partition wall loads or brick wall loads. So the partition wall loads are taken as the loads per running foot. In the routine design practice, the load is taken as 1 kip per foot on the beams. So there is a brief calculation. If you take the wall thickness is 9 inches, the density is 120. So you can calculate the load per foot, which is very easy, and it will comes out to be 1000, which is the 990. So you will take on 100 pounds per feet, right? So there is an option if the wall are not resting on the beams directly, so then the area loads for the bricks should be applied on the slab. So in our case, if you have studied the architecture drawings, so the loads of the washroom walls, they were not acting on the beam. So you can verify that, and I will show that later on, that the area load should be calculated using the density into height into thickness divided by the area of the slab. So in our case, the total length of the walls, so you have to calculate the total length of the walls, which is the 104 feet, and the total load will comes out to be 51480 pounds. So you have to divide this load by the area. So in our case, the panel was 20 cross 27. If you have noticed in the architecture drawings, so it will becomes 95 PSF. So you have to apply the load 95 PSF on that slab panel. So we'll go to the software, and let us select again. There is an option which is the previous selection. So you have to select previous. So the previous things you have selected, it will select again, and you have to go to the assign shell, the shell loads uniform. Sorry, this is actually the beam loads you have to apply, which is the line. So you have to go to the select properties, click on the frame sections, and now you have to select the beams, which is the 12 cross 24. Click on select, so it will be selected. Let me show the beams. These beams have been selected. Now go to the assign. Uh, this time frame loads. Click on this distributed, and this window will appear, and you have to select the pattern of load pattern name, which is the SDL. Again, it is superimposed dead load, and the direction is gravity. It is forces, not a moment. And this is a trapezoidal load pattern. It is not trapezoidal, we are assigning the uniform. So here it is the uniform load. The load is 0 kip per foot, so we will be applying 1 kip per foot on the beams. Click on apply, and now you can see that the load has been applied on the beam, and you can check it on the plane. You can see that the loads has been applied as 1 kip per foot on the beam. If you right click on the beam, if you go to the loads, it will show you the uniform forces, which is the 1 kip per foot. By as default, the software will give you the open structure wind parameter, but you haven't defined any load pattern for the wind, so you can ignore that because software will not incorporate this because it has no load patterns. Right. The next is the assignment of the area loads, which is the 95 PSF for the brick wall loads on the structure. If you check the architectural drawings, for example, let me open that architectural drawings. So I will show you that at the end of this building there is washrooms, and the walls of the washroom, they are not resting right above the beams. So you have to calculate the length of the each wall, and then you have to calculate the weight, and then you have to divide that weight with that panel, right? So you can see that this is the panel in which the walls are not resting on the beams. So you have to calculate the length of each wall, and then calculate the weight of this wall, and then you have to divide with this panel, and then you have to apply this load on the slab, which is the EF and this panel. So in our case, this is the EF. So these two slabs, you have to apply the loads on these walls, right? So we will go to the assign. I have selected these slabs. I have gone to the assign shell loads uniform, because I have already applied 40 PSF load as for the tiles. But if you click on this replace the existing loads, it will replace the 40. But we do not want to replace this 40. We will add this 40 with the how much load, with the 95. So we will add 95 with 40. So it will give you information about the I think 135. So we can see on the other panels, the loads are 40, but in these two panels, the load is 135 because we have applied the load of the partition walls. The next is about the live load, and for the live load, there is a table which is the 5.1, and which is the uniform and concentrated load, and these are the different uses. But the commercial use, for example, for the offices, the live load is 40 PSF, and I have taken this from the table. And if I see, you can see the for the offices, and the live load is 50. So we have to apply the live load 50 for the offices and 40 PSF live load on the shops, right? So you can study this table. So these are different, for example, the residential buildings, for the hospitals, for the libraries, for the garages, what are the different live loads, different units, you can check that. So in our case, we will take the 40 PSF for the shops, and for the offices, we have this 50 PSF live load. So we have the three stories. For example, if I click on this stories, so we have this basement 1, 2 and 3. These are the for the shops, and the last one, this slab is will act as a parking area. So we have to apply 60 live load for the parking, because there's an option in here, right? So live load for the ramps and parking area is 60, and it is taken from the ASC 716 table 4.3-1, that for the walkways, elevated platforms mean the ramp, and walkways or the walkways for the vehicles it is talking about, because it is the vehicle barrier. So it is 60 psf live load for the ramps as well as for the parking area. So we will define the in our section. If you can see that this is actually these walls will be on the ramp, for the uh, go down on the ramp, and it will be resting on the raft. But this is the slab of this basement 2. So we'll apply the parking load on this basement, and then we have 1 and 2 shops, and after that we will have offices. So we will go to the Etab again, and we will go to the first basement slab, which is the story 1. We will select this, and we will go to the assign shell loads uniform, and we will select the live load, and it is the parking area, and we will apply 60 live load for the uh, parking area, and we'll click on apply. And you can see if you right click on the slab, so these are two types of the load, which is the 60 for the vehicles live load, and this 60 is 40 is SDL. The next, and it was for the all story, it is not all story, you have to select one story. And again, if I go to the assign shell loads uniform, so click on 60, right? So we haven't applied any loads in here. So this is the shops 1 story, and this is shops 2 story, and we will apply the shell loads uniform 40 for the shops live load. And after that, we have from story 4, we will go to the similar stories. We will make it yes, and we'll make it no, and we will make all the stories similar to story 4. So when we apply the office load on story 4, so it will be applied on all the stories. So now if I select the slabs in story 4, so it will be selected in the remaining stories. I will go to the assign shell loads uniform, and this time I will apply 50 for the office's live load, and click on apply. If I go up on the upper stories, so the similar stories was not selected. So we have to select the similar stories command, and again you have to select the shells. Now assign the shell loads uniform and the live load 50. Click on apply and OK. So if I go down, the live load is 40. If I go up, the live load is 15. If I go up and up, the live load is 50 for the offices. So this is the live load pattern for this shell, and it is live load is 50, and the SDL is 40 pound per square foot. So this is how you will check the different type of the loads in the code, and you have to apply that accordingly. And the load for the parking area has been applied. Now the load for the ramp, you have to apply 60 psf as well. The easy way is to go to select, again select properties, slab section, and then you have to select ramp property, and 2 shells will be selected because we have 2 ramps. Go to the assign shell loads uniform, and apply the live load 60 for the vehicles, and again similarly select is previously and also apply the SDL of 40 as well on the ramps, right? So the loads has been applied on the ramps, the parking area, the live loads, SDL, superimposed dead loads. These loads has been applied. Now the loads on the retaining wall that you have to apply using the equation, which is the P is equal to CZ plus T. And let us apply this retaining wall in the next part of this session. So I will stop the presentation and I will again generate the new link, and then we can continue our session.